When I was younger, my parents, very devout, they always had us say morning prayers before we went to school in the morning. We said a rosary every night as a family. And I served Mass at Our Lady of Grace in Minot for a long time. During that time, Father Wayne Sattler, a newly ordained priest at the time, came. And that was the first time when I had seen a priest celebrate the Mass in that way and understand really what was going on. Blew me away. My parents had him come out to the house and we interacted, and I was like, holy, he's a pretty normal dude, you know? So that was the first time, I think, when I had an idea of like, maybe that would be something that a guy could do and it wouldn't be so weird. Anyways, through high school and all of that, it stayed really close to the faith, mostly because probably my parents said I was going to. So, but once I got to college, I really fell away. Was not living a moral life in any way, shape, or form, and just kind of doing the college thing, the party thing, like a lot of, I know, people do. And I kind of just went with the crowd. And through this time, looking back now, you can see God's hand in these little ways, because I am extremely hard-headed, and he had to beat me over the head for many, many years before I would listen to him. So for instance, out of the blue, one day I'm sitting on Facebook, and here comes Corey Nelson talking to me. I know Corey, he's Father Corey Nelson now. I knew him from high school. He was graduated a year before me, but we had never been really close friends or anything. We just kind of were cordial to each other in the hallways, and maybe seen him twice outside of school ever. And pops up on Facebook and he's like, hey, how's it going? You know, what are you up to? And I'm like, okay, this is weird. Like, I don't really know you that great, and you're studying to be a priest, and you know, I just don't really want to mess with this at all. I'm like, oh, dude, it's going good, you know, yeah, you know, hang out sometime when you come into town. Well, that was the beginning. Shortly thereafter, I got rid of Facebook and didn't have to worry about that anymore. But it was hilarious because I'd be going around town and just hanging out with people, and they'd be like, hey, have you talked to Corey Nelson? You know what's going on with him at all? And I'm like, why would I know what's happening with Corey? We were never friends. You know, we were never really that close. Stop asking me about this. And so it was always in the background, and you can see God working in that. So eventually, life got to be just kind of too much. I was trying to do everything on my own. No care for God at all. And it just got to the point where I was just kind of sick and tired, you know, and was unhappy, really unhappy. And so I'm just standing outside one day and I'm like, Lord, I can't do this anymore. If you know, God, if you're up there listening, whatever, like, I just want to be happy and I don't care what it takes. And he made it known to me that, you know, he said, you know that you're never going to be happy until you become my priest. And I was like, all right. And that was really scary, and I was a little angry, but I knew I had to do something about it. So first step, you know, general confession, went and found Father Sattler, who had been so instrumental in my life when I was younger, and really all the things that my parents had laid the foundation of when I was younger kind of all came back too. So I went and did that. And so after I did that, that was great. And I started living the faith a little bit, and you know, but eventually, like always, you kind of like, okay, I'll live a good life, Lord. You know, I don't know if this priest thing was for real. I'll do anything you want. I'll be, you know, get married, be a deacon. You know, I think that goes through for whatever reason. Everybody thinks being a deacon, but it's hilarious. So I went to confession one time. This is right before I really made the jump, and we were going to go to a hockey game. I went to confession before this hockey game, and afterwards I said, Lord, if you want me to be a priest, you're gonna have to hit me over the head because I'm too stupid to just kind of take the steps myself, you know. And I left, go to this hockey game, and I'm walking down the aisle. This is the same night, just a couple hours later, and who comes walking towards me but Corey Nelson and his family. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me, right? So I'm just said, hey, you know, let him go by. I was like, whatever, this is just totally random. It could have happened, you know, anytime. So I go and sit in my seat, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna sit here. And I was like, all right, Lord, I'll give you a chance. I was like, I'll make one loop around the building. If he's not there anywhere, I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna push the issue, you know. If he is, I promise, I'll talk to him, see what he says, you know, see if he wants to meet up. So I make this loop around, and lo and behold, there he is, standing all by himself in front of the concession stand, not buying anything, not talking to anybody. Family's nowhere to be found. And I'm like, all right, it's like this light shining, you know. It's like, oh, you know. I was like, all right, well, I made the promise. So I go up, talked to him, said, hey, can I talk to you? We met up. He was in town for Bishop Kagan's installation mass, and so he had me come down. They got me a ticket. I got to meet some of the seminarians, and I was surprised once again how awesome all the guys were, because I had really struggled with the thought that, well, I'm going to be way different than, like, these are probably a bunch of holy, really holy guys, and they are, but they're still relatable, and I think that was just a huge relief to me. So, and just a good time, and I felt like I finally belonged somewhere, and there was just like a comfort level that was really spectacular that I'd never really had before. There's always the tough times, but to know that, you know, God has your back the whole way through, I mean, it makes it pretty simple, you know, you just gotta say yeah, so.